Ever wish life came with an easy button? Like just press it and bam, your dream life appears.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Well, get ready, because today we're diving into a book that says the power to make that happen is already inside us.
Sounds promising. What are we cracking open?
Neville Goddard's The Power of Awareness. And spoiler alert, it's way less about, crystals and incense.
Less woo-woo, more how-to.
Exactly. It's like a user manual for your own mind, showing you how to use this power of awareness to shape your reality.
I'm intrigued. So less about thinking happy thoughts and more about what?
More about understanding the actual mechanics of how our thoughts create our experiences.
You got it. Goddard's big idea is that consciousness is the ultimate reality.
Okay, and by that he means?
He means our experiences aren't happening to us, but rather being projected by us, like a movie projector.
So instead of being the audience in the theater,
we're the ones running the film.
Wow. Okay, so if my mind is the projector, what's the film?
Think of it this way. Imagine a piece of steel, right? It can either be magnetized, attracting paper clips like crazy, or just sitting there doing absolutely nothing.
Right, but the steel itself doesn't change.
Exactly. What changes is its magnetic charge, like how its molecules are arranged.
So our consciousness is like the steel.
You got it.
And our thoughts and beliefs, those are like the magnetism.
Bingo. Your consciousness is the basic stuff. And your thoughts, your beliefs, all that, that's the magnetic charge.
Okay, so if I'm following you, it's like ditching a weak fridge magnet for one of those super strong ones, right?
That's a great way to put it.
We can amp up what we attract just by shifting how we're thinking about it, what we're believing.
You've got it. That's the law of assumption in action. By embodying the feeling of our wish fulfilled, really feeling it like it's already ours.
Like already happened.
Exactly. That's how we align our reality with that state. We become a magnet for what we desire.
Okay, I think I'm getting the magnet analogy, but how do we actually embody the feeling of something we don't even have yet?
It's kind of like my brain wants to remind me, hey, you haven't actually gotten that promotion, or you don't have that dream house yet.
Exactly. So how do we bridge that gap? How do we convince our minds that it's already a done deal?
That's where our good friend imagination comes in.
Imagination, like daydreaming.
You got it. Think about those times you're so engrossed in a daydream, it feels so real, you almost forget it's not actually happening.
Oh yeah, totally. Like when I was a kid, I used to daydream about flying.
And in those moments, you're not just thinking about it, you're feeling it, experiencing it with all your senses, right?
True.
Well, Goddard says we can intentionally tap into that power of imagination to create our reality. He calls it subjective control.
Subjective control. So it's like instead of letting our minds run wild with whatever random thoughts pop up,
we take the reins. We become the directors of our own mental movies, choosing the images, the thoughts, even the feelings that we focus on.
I like that, directing our mental movies.
Yeah.
But honestly, sometimes it feels like my mind has a mind of its own. How do we train it to stay focused on those desired feelings, especially when real life keeps, happening around us?
Goddard suggests a pretty cool exercise for that, mentally reviewing your day in reverse.
Going back in time, like a mental rewind button.
You got it. You're basically watching your day play out from end to beginning. But here's the key. You're actively choosing where your attention goes.
Instead of just passively replaying whatever happened.
Exactly. It might sound simple, but it's a really powerful way to strengthen your attention muscle. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to choose your focus, whether you're reviewing your day or visualizing your desires.
Okay, so we're training our minds to become laser focused on what we want.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to admit, there's still this part of me that wants to, make things happen in the real world,
Yeah.
Like put in the work, hustle, all that.
Right, like we're so used to that go-getter mentality.
Exactly. So how does that fit in with all this visualizing and feeling stuff? Do we even need to do anything?
Well, Goddard would say that action aligned with your desire will actually flow effortlessly once you've truly assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Effortlessly. So it's not about forcing things to happen. It's more about
allowing. But there's a crucial piece here. Acceptance. It's not enough to just wish for something. You have to truly accept it as true.
accept it as true, even if we can't see it yet.
Exactly. He quotes a powerful line from the Bible. "Prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it."
The windows of heaven opening up, it's quite a visual.
Right. And it speaks to the power of cultivating a deep, unshakable knowing, a feeling that what we desire is already ours.
It's about living from that place of already having, even if our current reality doesn't quite reflect it yet.
Exactly, and that's when things get really interesting. Because Goddard shares some pretty mind-blowing stories in the book.
Mind-blowing how?
These are stories of people who seemingly manifested their desires against all odds.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Tell me everything.
One that really sticks with me is the story of this soldier who desperately wanted to be discharged from the army.
Why? Was he scared or something?
No, nothing like that. He just had this deep yearning to be back home, living his life outside the military.
Got it. So what happened?
Well, he'd applied for a discharge and been denied, flat out, and there was just no way to appeal the decision. He was stuck.
Ugh, I can only imagine how frustrating that must have been.
Totally. But here's the thing. Instead of giving up hope, he decided to put all his faith in this law of assumption we've been talking about. So every single night, he would vividly imagine himself back home in his own apartment.
How detailed are we talking?
Very detailed. He'd visualize himself lying in his own bed. He'd picture the view from his window, even imagine the feeling of touching his furniture.
He basically created this whole mental movie of his desired reality.
Exactly. And get this, after doing this consistently every night for 8 nights, he gets called to his commanding officer's office.
Oh, wait. What happened?
Out of the blue, completely unexpectedly, his discharge was approved.
Just from vividly imagining it.
That's the power of assumption in action. But that's not all. Goddard shares another incredible story in the book The Penthouse Dream.
Okay, penthouse dreams, surprise discharges. This is some next level stuff.
Right. But let's be real. We don't always get what we want, right? What happens when that mental movie we've been working on doesn't exactly, become reality?
Well, Goddard would say that setbacks, they're just a natural part of the process. It's not always going to be a straight shot to the finish line.
So how do we deal with those bumps in the road? What keeps us going, even when things aren't, manifesting as quickly as we'd like?
He says the key is to really achieve this feeling of naturalness in your assumption.
Natural? Okay, now you have to explain that one because I'm not quite sure I follow.
It's about getting to this place where the feeling of your desire, it just aligns with you on this deep level. It feels natural. Here, think about it this way. If I asked you to imagine yourself, I don't know, running a marathon.
Okay, I can kind of picture that. Okay, now imagine trying to run that marathon, but you're chained to a bench.
Chained to a bench. Well, that just sounds impossible and a tiny bit mean.
Exactly. Your mind would be like, nope, not happening, because it knows on this fundamental level that running while chained, it just doesn't make sense. It wouldn't feel natural.
Okay, I think I see where you're going with this.
And according to Goddard, that's the thing. If it doesn't feel natural, if your mind's putting up those roadblocks, then it's not going to manifest in your reality.
So it's not enough to just logically think, okay, I want this thing, so I believe it's going to happen.
Not quite. It has to resonate on this deeper level. It has to feel like it already is, even if it's not in that tangible form yet.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The more natural the assumption feels, the more aligned we are with it actually showing up in our lives. Yeah. Okay, so how do we cultivate that sense of naturalness? Especially when it's something that feels, a little out of reach at the moment.
It all boils down to persistent imagination. It's not a one and done kind of thing. You don't just visualize it once and then check the mail for your dream life to arrive.
This is more like we're immersing ourselves in it, in the feeling of it.
Exactly. You're feeling it with all your senses. You're making it so real in your mind that it starts to feel as natural as, breathing.
It's like we're training our minds to accept this new reality, this thing we want. It's not out there. It's already ours.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
It's about bridging that gap between what we can imagine and what actually shows up in our world.
Wow, this is a lot to take in. It's incredible to think we have this power within us.
It really is. And we've only just scratched the surface of what the power of awareness explores.
Well, I'm definitely adding it to my reading list.
I think you'll really enjoy it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to walk away with today?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. Approach life with reverence for the creative power within you. You are not just a spectator in your own reality. You are an active participant, a powerful creator. And the more you consciously choose your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions, the more you align yourself with the infinite possibilities that are always available.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
It's like we get to choose the reality we want to experience.
In a way, yes.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible deep dive into the power of awareness.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to our listeners, If everything we desire already exists, just imagine the incredible possibilities waiting to be unveiled within our own consciousness. Until next time, keep exploring, keep imagining, and keep creating your own reality.